Yo, 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 what's up? I thought today we start something new and try to do one of the reviews that I usually do as a written format and just watch the video and point out what I notice in the meantime. Um, just as a heads up, I have not done this before, at least not in a video sense. So please bear with me. English is not my first and my native language, so it might be a bit rough at some points. I might stumble over some words. I'll try my best to explain stuff as best as I can while we go. We might stop and go back a few seconds here and there. I haven't seen the games before, so this is just like winging it and see what I can do and what I can show. To start it all off, I usually check characters that I review and just see if there's like some obvious flaws in that. Um, Maybe just some rough pointers. Usually, if you want to save some gold early on, you can go with like the cheaper enchants. I still recommend getting them. For like the boots and the cloak, you can grab the old Dragonflight enchants for both cloak and boots again, and they will work just fine. I think one of them is called let me lie, like it's something along the lines of Pathfinder, I think, something like that. And the other one is for the cloak. Um, Usually those are just like a couple hundred golds, so you don't really lose a lot when you buy them. It's just a bit of extra stats and a bit of extra speed. Um, the bracers itself, you can buy them. The rank 2 version, I believe, is also like 1000 gold or something, but it gives 850 speed. That's almost like 4 or 5%, so you might as well want to grab that. Um, in theory, all of these are very minor things, so you can take it or you can leave it. It is not super important. The main reason why I'm checking for stuff is, for example, for the Authority of Depths, because I still recommend it, even though you can play Authority of Radiant Power, for example, and do just as well. Um, Before that, you could have played Authority of Air before it was nerfed, and it would have still been very nice. Things like that give a slight edge. It's not important, but it helps because every little percentage obviously is helpful. Um, Besides that, there is not really an embellishment on the gear, at least not that I can see. There might be. It is just that I haven't seen it, you know. So we can always try and check for stuff like that. Obviously, his gear isn't gemmed yet, so he's not getting any value out of the elemental focusing lens. So what he could have done, for example, is grabbing the shield embellishment twice. It is not a huge thing again, but it's something that can help him win games, even though it's just a shield, so he doesn't die. But besides that, his gear looks fine. You can check here, he plays double rings that are crafted and a double neck. Usually, you want to check if those at least two of them are mastery and one of them is haste, because he's trying to get as high haste as he can while maintaining roughly 15% haste in PvP. I think without gems and enchants, he's a bit below that. I think just by like guessing, I'd assume he's is around 20% versatility and then around 13 to 14% haste. That's, like I said, just guessing from the gear without having seen it before. So that should all be fine. You want to be at around 10 to 15%, and then you're able to hit your second flurry strikes in the shadow damage flurry strike window. It's a 40-second buff. Besides that, this is his build. He's playing the American style of the current Windwalker build. That is usually the one that revolves around energy burst and sequence strikes. Those two in the bottom here. That is not something that I myself play, because I find myself not only overcapping on resources, but in general, I think the flow of the spec, at least for me, is not that nice. So I usually skip those talents and I play something more akin to this currently, or something like this. This is probably the most common one I play currently. Um, it sounds a bit troll, but I promise the touch of the tiger palm damage is actually kind of nice. It won't kill somebody, but it increases your overall pressure without losing you anything. Starting tomorrow with the nerf to Darting Hurricane, I think we can once again go something like this. It is not insanely impactful, but it's not too bad either. So if you have found success with this one, with the current build that he's playing, don't really bother with it. It's still pretty good. There's stuff that you can do well with it, and there's no reason to really change it. Um, what I found, what has worked pretty well for myself, is that when I do not play Detox, I play a point in Swift Art. And besides that, and I need to check what talent point he's using, I'm not playing Energy Transfer. So I usually do not play this talent, and that is my drop talent, I guess. So I'm either going in cheap proficiency for 1 point, or I'm using wind walking for 4% movement speed, or I put it in detox. Again, it is a very minor thing. It will most likely not win or break games for you, and it will not lose them if you're not having it. It is just simply that I myself found it to be the most helpful thing I can play. Besides everything else, the chi wave against chi burst window is kinda whatever. Everybody can pick that if he likes it or if he doesn't. That is just what people pick if they, prefer to play the chi wave that's mainly passive instead of the chi burst. Small things doesn't really matter too much. Without having said that, um, this is basically the standard that everybody plays. PvP talent wise, you will always 100% of the time play Turbo Fists and Rising Dragon Sweep. There is literally zero reason to ever change that. Then, if you do, or if you see someone do it, it has to be for like very weird reasons, and I couldn't think of a single thing that you can do or why you would want that. Um, the third slot, that is our Flex Honor talent. So, as most of you guys know, it's either grapple weapon into everything that wants a disarm. So, Rogue, Hunter, DK, Shaman, um, Warrior, another Monk. It is basically everything. And just if you hit a caster lobby, I usually go Wind Waker right now. This is this one. Because if you roll, it gives you movement speed. And even though you're not picking like Wind Walking over here, it still works. In the client, it'll show you a red icon. That doesn't matter. It still will work. Um, but that is a bit of preference. Others use Ride the Wind. I've seen Reverse Harm, even though I would never take it anymore. But people can play it if they want. Yeah, all right. Besides that, I don't think you can really swap stuff around here a lot and still be useful. Just my 2 cents on the build. Without like going further into this, let's just look at the games and see what we can pick up. First of all, what we are seeing right here is he's playing with a Subrogue that will make every single game that he's playing kind of interesting, because obviously the Subrogue is in control of most rounds. At least he should be. There is usually a certain thing about Subrogues that they change the flow of every single game they are in. Because against you, you will have to care like what time you're trinketing, especially in a shuffle where there's less coordination, where you can't talk to your healer. Um, they have a lot of burst, but at the same time they have a lot of disruption. So for example, if you look at their duel over here, duel can change a game because either they go duel you, they could duel your healer, they could duel to survive. There's just multiple reasons why it's pretty good. Besides that, the healer matchup is Preservation Evoker against the Resto Shaman. That is currently very favored for the Pres Evoker. That is just the better healer overall. Less casting, more damage, more utility. Very safe with the 3 nullifying shrouds and the 2 walls himself. So that is always a very, very strong healer. And on the opposite team, the DPS, Shadow Priest, and the Retribution Pally. The red is usually the one that will be very helpful against the Subrogue, because with Bob, Sacrifice, Blessing of Sanctify, those are all like big buttons that can help you survive against it. Shadow Priest itself is a bit less prone to die into Subrogue as well, because you're simply able to disperse into like the damage or the smokes bombs, so you do not have to immediately drink it, and you have like a certain timing where you can play around the setup of the Subrogue. So for example, if he steps your healer, you know you can fade, and it will most likely result in you fading like a kidney or a stun or stab something. So usually a good start where you can fear the DPS. Um, with everything here's going on, he's playing Detox, that is pretty decent into the SP. I usually do not run it because even though you can dispel the Devouring Plague, I found myself to be rather rarely dispelling it. That's surely something that others disagree with. That is for sure a point that you could make to say you want to almost dispel every Devouring Plague that you can. I just didn't find it to be super impactful if I did, and most healers I asked me if I should do it, they just said it is whatever. And then he's running Disarm, that is the third honor talent choice. That is also kinda big. Let's just go into the game before like we lose ourselves and spend more time talking over it all, and just see how it goes. In general, I think what they should be doing here is cover the red shaman, the resto shaman, and try to go the SP. What you could do in the opener without having seen the first round right now is when you see a sap on the resto, you just incap the red, so he can't sank or stun the rogue. So there's no way he can peel it. But we'll just go from here and see how it goes, and try to point out what I see. Turn the sound down a bit.
Good luck,
Okay.
Grandmaster.
First of all, shortly stopping because it's nice to see. You are placing your port. In the meantime, the rogue saps the red into a sap on the shaman, so you immediately start with damage. Contrary to what I thought that he would do, is you're going red. So you shouldn't incap the red for the setup because the rogue did that himself. You can incap the SP, so he doesn't fear. Most likely in this situation, if the Shadow Priest is anything like aware of what is going on, he will just move towards you and fear you both. And your complete opener is gone. And without covering him, you obviously lose the incentive, at least for 3 seconds. It is not as good anymore as it used to be with the 4-second incap because it's just a 3-second incap, but you're buying yourself time for 2 globals to let the rogue cover the SP.
Psychic scream.
Yeah. What you did in here is you immediately follow the cheap shot with your stun. The psychic scream that the SP did was unfortunately out of range of both you and like the rogue. So he missed both. You stunned the after image from the SP, so I'm not sure even if that actually will still fear you. But you basically the art is done. You could have hold that and wait for your own leg sweep to be over, or his go to be over before you leg sweep. Um, that can be helpful for the next go in 30 seconds. With a sub rogue on your team, you're holding your leg sweep way longer than you would usually do. Okay, you still get feared because of the after image. That is something I wasn't 100% sure of. So yeah, that's how it works. Then ignore what I said. The fear still stops your go. Now I find some. Um, what I can tell you in that short moment, even though I fiddled with the sound, um, someone of you, I'm not sure if it's you, but I assume it was the rogue because his kick is on cooldown. Um, try to stop the damage of the DSP, and because of missing the kick, will lose a lot of pressure. Sometimes it's actually better to not kick, and just the pressure of having a kick will make people afraid of you being able to kick. It is you're a bit in their head, so kicking early is not always the play. Besides that, it was a very good disarm on your end, by the way. With Blessing of Protection up on the SP, you can immediately swap again. Swap to the red again. His Standia is about to fall in a second. The Shaman is not on Standia, so Shaman even trinketed. If you set up a stun on him, like cover the red with an incap, go the shaman with a stun and blind him out, you're almost guaranteed to get the bubble from the red afterwards because the shaman can't get out of it. The SP can't cover because he doesn't have fear, and the red is out of blessing of protection already. Um, Also, what I noticed so far, you're not really tracking your flurry strikes and your energy spend. That is something that is obviously very tough to do early on. So you not tracking shadow damage or the energy spend makes it harder for you to know when you're bursting. Um, the common misconception about Shadowpan against Conduit is that Shadowpan is the passive one that you do not play around or that you do not have to watch out for as much. In general, it's quite the opposite. Conduit is the talent tree of the hero talents that is very straightforward. It is almost impossible to play Conduit and not make it work or make the talent itself worth less. Um, Shadowpan, on the contrary, is the complete opposite. You will always try to time your flurry strikes, your discharge of them, and you play around certain buffs that you get. Starting tomorrow, the changes will affect it in some way where you will be less likely to play around it as much. But you're still trying to gain 10 stacks and time your discharge of them together with Strike of the Windlord and Gale Force. Because you're increasing the outburst of that damage and you still make it more explosive because 10% of the damage is duplicated. Um, I will try to not bring that up too much, as it's obviously like a bit advanced technique that people play around, but it is worth mentioning because otherwise you're not really playing Shadowpan to its fullest potential. Um, in general, so far, what I really like about the game is the awareness of the dragon and also that you tried to cover the SP with the sweep early on, even though you could have hold it, and I'm not sure if you went for the SP. You at least tried to stop the fear on your guys in the go. The dragon set up a go on both shaman and red. Red is off Standia, we figured that out a moment ago, and the shaman is also not stunned, so it is very easy for you guys to deal any damage to that. Um, there is a totem out that you might want to kill. It's this one in the back. Your UI is not telling you that this is the one that you need to pre-phase or that you need to kill. But healing tide and he pre'd the go, so it is more than likely that they're somewhat fine and take a lot of healing here. Um, Funnily enough, the Press Evoker missed the stun on the Shaman, even though it was a very good opportunity to stun both. You could try to swap off the red here and go for the shaman because shaman is off the R. He can't really help right now, and you karma, but you didn't really karma a lot of damage, so you are out of a defensive without really needing one, and you're right now not putting any pressure down because obviously now you're getting feared, but also you're not close to the kill target of the rogue. A very simple thing that you can try to do is always try to face more towards the direction of the other DPS. You're spinning and Fist of Fury blasting the red, facing the Resto Shaman right now, but the SP is way closer, and there's a legit chance if you angle yourself between both of them that you're cleaving. It will increase your overall DPS, but also make it harder to heal because it gives you the opportunity to swap on both the SP and the red later down the line. Um, Again, SP is on Standia for 14 seconds. I'm not sure where your sweep is, to be honest, on your bars, so I will have to check. Oh, it's down here. I do not see cooldown of that, so it should be up, I assume, and you're in a global cooldown just simply for that. And red is open, but has a trinket. So right now you're a bit limited while you took a lot of damage right here. We could have argued that earlier on your disarm was a bit wasted because he didn't have the big wings or he wasn't able to damage you yet. So you might want to wait for disarm after his CDs are actually going and he's not in a stun or like a blind or something.
Freedom.
Nice disarm by your rogue. Also good port by you.
Psychic
Again, the rogue is trying to cover the healer, and he gives him a kidney and runs towards the red afterwards. You could try, oh, well, it was a lot of burst that you took there. What you need to do, or what you could try, is multiple things here. First of all, you can incap the shaman, and after his kidney ends, to prolong the CC chain, and well, afterwards you can help set it up because you have a stun and Rogue has to walk there first. So when you see him kidney the shaman, you can sweep the pally. And let's watch again what happened to you in the end, so where you died. Right. I jump back a bit more. So now is the stun time for you where you can sweep. You're on 70%. Your healer gets feared and silenced out of it in a second. And he just bursts you down. To be fair, what you could have done is you could have pressed wall at a higher percentage of HP, or you could have diffused and tried to stay alive that way. Overall, there was a gap for your healer to rescue, to time dilate you. I don't think anybody like really expected your damage. Importantly, though, you can try to wall high and karma high. I think your karma that round was a bit unfortunate because you karmaed when there wasn't really any damage on you yet, or at least not like any dangerous damage, and the red just found a very good opportunity to burst you.
precognition down.
Also, small thing that I've said probably a million times, that you obviously did, but it might not be obvious for everybody. The way your gladiator losses A is configured right now is just in a way that it's very hard for anybody to listen to it and find any meaningful stuff that's been said. I usually recommend going over the options and turning on what you need to hear and what you want to hear. That can be different from player to player. For example, I usually have things said to me that are not as easily identified. For example, if a hunter pops True Shot Aura, I hear True Shot Aura, while I will not hear like wings or something, because wings are easier identified than Shadow Blade, True Shot Aura, whatever. Besides that, obviously, if you struggle to see cyclone casts out of your line of sight or your field of view, you can obviously make the druid say cyclone or something because it is easier for you to react to it. Again, by the way, your burst was just unfortunate. That is something I've been bursted before and I didn't react in time. It just happens. You died in literally 1 second from 40 to 0. It's a bit unfortunate. So now, when the round starts against the sub rogue, what you will try to do is grab combat as soon as you can. So place your port, and then that is already very slow because you're trying to go over and find the combat. You place your port in line of sight of everybody else, so it's very hard for you to react if they go you. Um, if the rogue opens your healer, you can now karma, for example, the dragon and try to live that way. Your first button out of that should be an incap on the rogue. Now a disarm after he trinkets your sweep. With evasion up, you can swap DSP. Okay, you gave the red gave precog. You're hitting too much into rogue evasion. You should swap off that into the SP. If you swapped SP, that would have been way more pressure. Yeah. You might as well, by the way, not trinket the opener if your healer is next to you and helping you. Now it is a very good time to hit the rogue because he's out of evasion and his defensive cooldowns. But still need to be dangerous, like be careful. Now with the rogue coming again, he will start to CC your healer in just a second. The second your healer gets CC'd, you need to wall. And with you getting feared with him, that is tough. That's a very good Bob that you overlap with your own wall. You should swap off the SP here and hit the rogue, because the rogue has nothing left, whereas the SP still has dispersion. You can also press Strike of the Windlord a bit more. Now you need to disarm the rogue, because your healer is CC'd, and their go is about to start. You disarmed a bit too late, or at least you didn't disarm at all, and that way they had to press a lot of buttons. Very important thing that a lot of people forget. I'll try to explain it in this situation. You want to think a bit ahead. Obviously, these games are explosive and kind of quick. So especially when you're not as well versed as others, or as I am, for example, it is hard to see a certain pattern in the CC timer and how people are setting it up. So I'll try to explain it like this. Um, we're about to start into their go. There's multiple things going on. First of all, your healer is in a gouge, so he cannot stop this sleepwalk. He will get sleepwalked out, and the rogue has a shadow dance ready. So what will happen is your healer will get sleepwalked and blind overlapped. In a normal game, he wouldn't get blind overlapped, but he will not be able to get out of this, even though he has link. And the rogue will afterwards stun him and make a go onto you. So the second you see this sleepwalk right here, this is where you need to disarm the rogue, because if you did it in just a second, wait, now that means your pally is covered, your healer is covered, and the rogue is about to start to stun you. So the disarm here delays their go long enough and that you can get stunned after the disarm for your healer to be able to cast, for example, Spirit Link, or give a tremor so a fear can be stopped, something like this. Um, that hasn't happened, obviously, because you either don't see it, you are focused on killing the SP, or you're stressing a bit. That's all just very normal and it can happen. So what will happen is that he stuns your healer and afterwards moves towards you. That always gives you a global to react to it. So you could incap the rogue, you could disarm the rogue in that global if you're quick enough. Again, that's also just not happening. However, what is happening is you're getting stunned. Wait. Exactly in 2, 1, and okay, I'm a bit off. Here it happens. Alright. Now, your healer is in a CC. His trinket is coming up, but you're stunned. Very nice sacrifice, by the way, from your red. It's really good, because without that, you are in a lot of shit. What you need to do now is try to save yourself. Um, the rogue is in an consecration. That is a bit unfortunate for you because it might break the incap that we are about to do, or that we should do, but you still need to try it. This rogue is almost guaranteed leaving a gap in his CC rotation. So because you're an orc, it's very hard to keep you locked down 100% of the time for dealing maximum damage. That takes a lot of skill. So what you'll be doing right here is focusing the rogue and mash your incap button, because he will leave a gap in just a second. Exactly here. This is your gap. This is your gap where you can incap the rogue and stop their complete go. You have a karma out of this, so you incap him, maybe for just a global, and even that means you can karma the priest. Not only do you gain damage for it, you also gain a lot of momentum because the rogue has to burst you down through the karma again, and at the same time will need to set up the stun delayed. You have like 1 or 2 globals here for it. Maybe a bit less because he used his damage rotation. So either you use this to karma the SP or to incap the rogue. I personally would incap the rogue and karma the SP for um, getting damage and pressure out. Did you see what I mean here? The global he left you? That is your reaction time. Now it's too late for you to run. There's no way that you can outrun this damage because your healer is in line of sight here, behind your bars, and you need to stay in his line for him to be able to heal you. Obviously, you're panicking a bit. That is just normal. Everybody does. But now it's a time where you need to run to the SP, karma him, and then try to survive like this. With maybe a link from him, maybe if he gets the seat again, you can stank it off, and like this regain like momentum a bit. I like the Ring of Peace, even though it is not super impactful. It will stop the CC on your healer for a moment. Refocus your images because they are still on the healer, and if you had it on the SP here, you would have all the damage in the world and kill him probably. Very nice Spirit Link in preparation of the go. Also, I like your karma here. Now you can swap the healer, and you do, and clash him towards you. Incap or disarm the rogue here. Nice. Very good. Um, you're not using your incap that much right now, and you're also not pressing your disarm on the cooldowns of the rogue. Um, you can make it a bit easier on yourself by delaying their goes a bit. I made a post in the past about Subrogue. I will link it to you afterwards after I post this video, explaining the step. There is WoW PvP is not a brawler in that sense. It's my favorite iteration, but WoW PvP is a bit like chess. Every move he does has to provoke a reaction from your end. Obviously, it is very easy to say that, but uh, it is always a certain pattern. Especially in solo shuffle, usually you will not be covered when he does a go. So it is always your healer gets zapped. That means you have to press X. For example, press a Ring of Peace on yourself in the opener, so that the go from the rogue is delayed. In advanced games, you will usually see the rogue will cover my opponent, like my teammates, so he can't peel me, and I will use that time to incap or to disarm and try to stop the opener. Um, in the first round, the rogue was really good and actually covered the red with with a sap before he sapped the shaman and then swapped on the red. That leaves him very little time to react. Um, that is something that we need to learn in the future. It's not easy to do, but I'll try to give an example of how that works in the future when I find a game for it. Was well played by the red, by the way. Really well done. Also, minor thing that I didn't mention earlier, you can replace your port when you cross sides into line of sight of the pillar. So, for example, if your healer gets sapped or blinded or kidnapped, cheap shotted, whatever, you can just port into line of sight of the rogue. And when he runs towards you, you can just port back and delay the go like that for 2 seconds or 3 seconds.
Where are we going today, Grandmaster?
What small thing that I usually advise as well is before the game starts, you can try to communicate what you're trying to do. Like who do you want to hit, who do you want to kill. Um, it helps get everybody on one page because usually people are spread out, and that is obviously not as easy for people to figure out what you're doing if you are trying. Yeah, exactly. Your press evoker says it. You should always place your port, and now could have grabbed combat. You running in first is very tough because you need the timing here that you lose by not immediately placing a port. Um, you need to run here, place a port now, now 1 second in the past, and then run around and grab combat from the red with like a taunt or with a crackling jade lightning to get your hit combo going, because you obviously want to not be sapped in the opener. And the red running in is giving you guys the option to not be sapped in the start. That I don't like the stun from the shadow at all, but it is what it is.
Good luck, Grandmaster.
Okay, you lining the damage in the start is nice. I'm curious why they are not opening. Nice Ring of Peace to delay the rogue. He will just step over it in just a second. Now you need to keep the rogue in combat usually. If the rogue was any better, then he would have probably tried to re-stealth. Now is the time to disarm the rogue, and you're focused on the Resto Shaman. Uh, After the opener, there's no reason to be on the Shaman anymore. So your targeting is a bit all over the place. It's something you mentioned before, but it's okay to start on the Resto Shaman, but after he walls, you just want to go off of him. A wall, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the terms of PvP, so I'll reiterate them. A wall is usually a percentage reduced damage taken. So when we are talking about a wall, it's either fortifying brew, um, lock wall is the one where he can cast without being interrupted or knocked. Then there is obviously red wall. Warrior wall is the frenzied regeneration. Um, uh, and rage regeneration. I'm not sure what it's called actually. I just say wall. Um, so usually it's worth it to swap off those targets and swap onto something else. Um, what you need to do is help your teammate delay the rogue go, because you full pummeling the shaman is not accomplishing anything. Whereas if you hit the rogue or the red, you will spread pressure a lot. And you could, for example, incap the resto shaman and break the grounding totem. Keep in mind all the things I said right now. This is a lot that I expect people to know and that they can do. This is not that you need to do it. It is just simply this is the options you have right now. And you win the games by making sure they are not getting any pressure out while you maximize your damage pressure. And it's always better for you to cleave off two targets than it is from hitting one target and being outside of everybody's range. Very nice fake by your SP. You still haven't disarmed the rogue yet, by the way. His complete Shadow Dance. Very unfortunate lasso by the Resto Shaman, because it means they will never be able to go you. You could have detoxed that slow. Disarm here should now be delaying the complete go. Nice slow. You can double disable for the stun. Healing Tide behind the pillar. That should be killed, and the grounding here should also be killed by you, because your SP can't play the game without it. Duel, you can Ring of Peace this, because even if he is in a duel, the Ring of Peace will affect it. Keep disable up on the rogue here. He has sprint up, he will hate you if you root him, and he can't move his character. And besides that, an incap on the shaman right now will probably either force trinket of both rogue and the shaman, or like a blessing of protection by the red. Now that he evasioned, stop caring about him. Just go for the red full YOLO right now. You need your ghosts off him. Maybe you can crackle Jade Lightning him so he keeps combat for a second longer. But you can now move away from him. Try to position yourself more in a way that you hit multiple people with the knock up. Even though he has evasion up, you can still knock him up. Try to save your Ring of Peace, even though it was very good in this situation and awareness that their go is coming. Try to place it in a way that the SP or you are both in the middle of it, because the rogue can't hit you if you do. Timing was almost perfect that you get kidneyed and stop the whole go with it. Now that you get out of this, your first thought has to be, okay, they smoke bomb. I need to cover my SP. He's in danger even though he has dispersion. We can save that if I just roll over and incap the rogue. Then he has to trinket. I can disarm out of that, and there's nothing he can do because he doesn't have evasion. He doesn't have a cloak. In like 15 seconds, he's completely doomed, where he just can't press any buttons anymore. Nice dispersion by your SP, by the way. You can slow the... Exactly, like this. Ah, perfect. That forces freedom. Was about to say that. You can also waste your second charge of Storm Earth and Fire a bit more freely. Double disable again for the root. Killing Spirit Link here would be good. Okay. Now, if you go for both of them, it is actually not bad getting stunned here because it puts you on the R. Now you need to stun out immediately. Okay, this is also works. Okay. Blessing of protection. Now you need to hit the red again. You need to be a bit quicker on swapping. Now blessing protection dispelled means you can hit the rogue again. The swap on the shaman is actually not that good. It might work because obviously people are stressing a bit, but you need to be on the rogue here all the time now. Rogue has nothing left and the SP will not. Oh, actually very nice swap. You need to wall and karma right here. Actually, that was so well played by the SP. He swapped before the duel, insanely well played. You were a bit late with your karma or like the wall. If you're that low, that late into the game or the round, you can overlap it because there's no way this game is going longer than the next 15 seconds. Either the red dies or the shaman dies, or your SP or you die. So just buying time for your healer to get yourself back up for just a second longer is important. And even though he didn't have Blessing of Protection anymore or his own bubble, it can still be that you're dying in this short time. Um, just for clarification, there's more things that I can tell you and that I see. Not all of them make sense to do. I try to stop when there's a very important things. I'm not trying to min-max your globals yet. There would be potential in pressing your rotation in a different way. So far, the biggest things I can tell you are you need to work a bit on your targeting. So swapping off walls into other people a bit more frequent, especially when there's a wall up or blessing protection or an evasion. Um, you need to refocus your ghosties a bit better because usually they run after another person and hit into the defensive and split your damage further. Whereas you could just PvE someone down single target in that time frame. And obviously, probably the biggest thing that is a very easy fix: angle yourself better so you cleave more. You're trying very hard to hit a single person usually, and Fist of Fury, spinning Crane Kick away from them, so you're not hitting multiple targets. And after that, it is a general thing that will just need time to practice, especially into sub rogues. Like I said in the opener, the game revolves around them. So you're not playing your own game, but you're playing whatever the sub rogue is setting up. So knowing that a go is coming and pre-disarming it or pre-stunning it, rooting it, that is something that comes with experience, and it's not something that I can just yell at you for and say, "Oh, you need to do that," and it will immediately be stuck in your head that you can do it. In your first round, what you could have done, you're a very passive starter, so you move in, place your port down, and then you wait around. Um, you can try to either remount or you can already be prepared to go in once somebody is zapped. Now you go down, replace your port, and then you move. Your port not being placed yet, and you place it on this side, obviously is also okay, but it's not super easy. All the way you're playing with two gladiators, so that means it's obviously very tough for you to find openings for certain things. Again, you did the same thing as the first round. He sets up his opener with stuns, and you're stunning into them. So you're DRing your leg sweep because you're used to stunning in the opener. With a sub rogue in your team, you're not the one setting up stuns, except if he covers the healer and you just don't want to leave a gap for it. So the opener is still successful because you get bubble and trinket from the SP. I have no idea, by the way, why he bubbles because it makes no sense that he does. He wants to end the round quickly, I assume. But in a normal game, that the rogue would first of all start by zapping 3 times of the press evoker, so he has no cloak stacks left, and then open. But you still wouldn't leg sweep most likely, except if you get all three, and then the rogue can just DPS down. But yeah, keep your leg sweep is the general thing. Don't hit the healer, by the way. Immediately go for the SP. You will rarely, if ever, hit the healer except in a swap. So you can almost start to ignore healers for now because the only reason that you hit them in a game is that your sub rogue opens them and you swap with them. You can already Tiger Slash this and go for the SP. You waste very much time right here hitting the Press Evoker for no real reason. The only thing that it accomplishes is that you get stunned and rooted here while your rogue puts the SP in Stundia, and now their go is starting. Also no real reason to clash that because it wasn't a disrupt or you got feared. Yeah, now you found the right target. That's good. Again, try not to kick so early. Try to wait with your kick until he's... I usually say he will fake multiple times here. He doesn't need the cast out because you're dotted, he's dotted, your healer isn't dotted, but it is whatever. So he will most likely try to just get precog so he can either heal or start to get his DPS rotation down. So most likely the people will cast to like here and move a step, or they do the same until very short before the end. So just let him fake a bit. If you're not kicking, he will kick himself like 3 times or 4 times until he assumes you won't kick and then you kick. With Blessing of Sacrifice up, you go for the dragon again. You should be on the red right here. Yeah, there's no reason for you to be here right now. Your complete damage should be on the red right now, even though he has wall up, and now it should be on the SP again. You're very focused on the dragon, and that puts your damage very far behind, like matching, I guess, because the Press Evoker will just be able to heal it off, and both of these people are now on Standia. Dragon is falling, so he becomes a viable swap target again. So if the rogue is aware that you could deal damage to him, then he could go for him, but there's no way you can cover those 2 people right now. So not a very good target. Like the disarm by the rogue. You should be more on the SP. You're very focused on the 2 wrong targets here in this game, this round. Wait, let me check how long the Standia was still. You need to watch the Standia a bit more because now you're very hard like delaying your own go from the rogue. 3 seconds on the SP, 2 seconds on the red, and you should DR both of them. Oh, yeah, actually, the knock from the shaman makes it so you miss the red. That is very fortunate for you, because if you'd hit the red, that would basically mean game over for you guys, because the red is not a viable target anymore. You should disarm the red, by the way, right here. It's very fortunate that you didn't miss him, because the rogue immediately afterwards stuns him, and you force Blessing of Protection with it. Even though he could just Blessing of Protection himself instead of pressing Trinket for it as well. Very nice reaction by your Shaman to dispel it. I like your Karma, by the way. It's very nice. The Priest moving towards your healer here. Wait, in this moment. Fading your slow and moving towards your Shaman in this direction should almost guaranteed prompt like either the Tremor from the Shaman because he knows he get feared, or it should be on your end to place a Ring of Peace below them or beneath them, so the Priest does not reach your Shaman. Oh, it is actually smart what the Priest is doing here. He tries to bait the Shaman into tremoring. With you moving towards the Priest, he will get a double fear here. It wasn't tremored, you didn't Ring of Peace it, so it's just it's going to happen. Very nice dispel by your healer.
Dispersion.
You can incap that, and the go will continue. But it's also very nice smoke bomb. You can Storm Earth and Fire here, and you would guaranteed win the game. You lacking the damage here to go for him is because you're not Storm Earthing firing here this go. This will guaranteed kill the red.
Vengeance shield. Vengeance shield him. Freedom. Time dilation recovery.
You actually can swap here. I don't mind that swap too much. Um,
Power infusion.
you should go for the. You're not as experienced yet with sweep, so it's very unfortunate that you usually DR people. The SP can't be covered anymore because his DR was about to fall. The red took a triple DR again, and the only person that you're stunning is the healer. Excuse me.
Dilation down.
Refocus your ghosties was good. Spinning crank kick.
Infusion down.
You can diffuse here already to reduce pressure on you because the cloak, the rogue will cloak, and you want to buy time for your healer. It's very close and very good swap by the SP. Now you can hit the SP and you're stuck on the red. Yeah, you should report afterwards. And yeah, there's just not a lot you can do anymore. You can karma out of this. You need to. Nice. Be a bit more like frequent with your second Storm Earth and Fire cast. The rogue played the end very well. The cover on the healer that trinketed, the SP that swapped was no longer pressure, and you're not as liberal with the second Storm Earth and Fire charge. You're keeping it for a second go. You can use it more frequent. Usually, I would recommend you watching your Shadow Flurry way more. Your Flurry strikes are not impactful at all. You're not playing around it as a cooldown, but rather it is just passive damage that sometimes happens, and then you got it. I recommend you download the Weak Aura, but it is something that is required to track a lot of things. So you might enjoy Conduit a bit more because it's just easier to pull off and play around. Also, it gives you some extra defensives. Besides that, your general damage rotation, by the way, is decent from what I can see. You're dealing a good amount of damage. It's just not on any priority target right now. So if you just swap it around and swap with your team a bit more, that means you will win at least 30% more games, I'd assume. Because you at least on this rating right now, damage is very important, but it has to be on the right targets.
Where are we going today, Grandmaster?
Besides that, I haven't really tracked your dispels, but I can almost assure you, you do not need detox in your current state because you will not dispel a lot of things. You are almost guaranteed better off if you play something like Swift Art or Cheap Proficiency. Just because you're not pressing the button, it is just whatever. What we are trying to watch out for again is how you position yourself in this round and how you deal damage to the enemy team. Um, I think I read it earlier, Mock pointing it out. You could start using a focus target, by the way. I'm not sure if I just don't see it, but usually my round starts with I click the healer, put a focus down for him, just so I have an easier time focus incapping him, focus kicking, whatever. Uh, Again, you are too late with your port. You're lucky that the game starts rather slow, but your port needs to be down like basically 5 seconds ago already, or 10 seconds ago rather. Your first move is move to the tower, place a port, then you go forward and try to cap combat from either the red or the press evoker, or you can even try to ring of peace out the rogue if you have a rough idea where he is at.
Finding shroud. Cheap shot.
What you did here is very dangerous actually. Your healer is on the opposite side of the pillar. If the red moves towards you and the red move towards the sub rogue move towards you, it's almost guaranteed that you will at least blow trinket and wall.
Shadow dance.
This needs to be a disarm on the rogue because you know he's dancing, and you want to delay this damage. It's all his damage in the opener. Um, Wait, never mind. I'm lying. He doesn't have Shadow Blades up, so it is a go, but it's not the big go. It is the opener go.
Shadow.
Now I'm correct again. There is Shadow Blades. It is the big go. So now you guaranteed need to disarm it, so he trinkets or at least cloaks it off.
Cheap shot. Cheap shot.
You running on top of him without disarming means you will guaranteed get CC'd, by the way. So it just happens what needs to happen. They also really covered in the opener.
Sleepwalk. Step.
Nice fear by your SP though.
Kick. Leap back. Shadowy duel.
You can still sweep this exactly how you did, and the rogue still gets stunned here. When he comes out, he should have a stun here. I'm not sure if you see it. Oh, I'm sorry. From talking so much, my voice is a bit fucked. You do not see if he was stunned or not. So it might be that he's on stun. Yeah, it can be that he isn't. You loved it hitting the dragon a lot. Don't. There's zero point in doing so. You should have been on the red 5 seconds ago. Very nice triple fear. And you could almost use the second charge of your Storm Weapon Fire here. You need to hit the red here more. And right now there should be a disarm on the rogue because he's dancing again and you want to delay that. Yeah. It was again a very nice reaction by your SP. But you not disarming earlier was very tough again. It's actually kind of funny. You're very liberal with your leg sweep in the opener when you play with the rogue, and you keep holding it when you're playing with the SP. Especially when you see like multiple people on one spot. Right here, wait. You see. Oh, fuck me. Wait. Give me a second. Need to refine it. This is the opener. I mispressed on my mouse, so it is what it is. Now you're too late with the disarm, by the way. So if you disarm in a second on the red, this is just not helpful. This needs to be disarmed. Yeah, and you're disarming the wrong target. Disarming the red doesn't do anything. You always want to disarm the rogue. So, right here, his evasion is running out. The press evoker is stacking, and you could start to think about sweeping multiple people. You know it's coming up in 1 second. Now is a triple sweep angle. Now you can simply triple sweep, everybody is stunned, rogue will trinket, maybe even the red will bubble or bob, and you can start to really start pumping some damage into people. So Storm Weapon Fire and full send it right here. Also, you're not timing your your Strike of the Windlord as well. You're using it as a global in between, and you forsake the 10% damage increase it basically does. Now that you haven't stunned anybody in quite some time, this would be another triple sweep angle. You had like 5 seconds for it at this point. The SP will stun, and basically right afterwards you will stun. In Sanctuary, and now is a stun on the red. You keep everything, and now you stun in just a second. You force bubble, that is pretty good, but you should hit the rogue because the rogue is out of defensives. It's very surprising to me, by the way, that they haven't really started to go you. You could Ring of Peace this to not make him die. There's just nothing. Oh, you immediately break it. There's DSP is recovering here is very stunning to me. Now he has Dispersion again. It's insane. Never go for him. this right here is stopping all of your pressure again. The sacrifice means you need to hit the red or the rogue right here, so you get pressure out.
Sack down.
Again, you're still very late with pressing your Sturm and Fire. It's very hard for you guys to do something with that.
Deep breath.
Incap the rogue here and you win.
Handed shadow dance. Smoke bomb. Freedom.
You can defuse this, and you need to get immediately out of the smoke bomb. You stayed in there way too long. Your first global should be a roll outside.
Sprint. Kidney. Protection down. Divine tongue. Shadows.
There's just no recovering from this point anymore, I think.
Down. Fleet walk.
Your Ring of Peace doesn't work because you Whirling Dragon Punch the Ardent.
Brains embrace. Transport.
That fear is actually very good and might save you the round.
Shadow dance.
Nah, you're dead.
Dilation. Caught flame.
Yeah, this round is a problem mainly because you're not swapping correctly on the defensives. Again, this is not like any real critique because it's hard to know when you're starting off. It's just something you need to keep in mind. When there's a defensive running, disregard the healer a bit more and go for Rogue and Red in this game and you win it.
Dilation down.
You can just simply be a bit more flexible. Yeah, this is a good call by you, by the way. I like when you call what you want to hit because it brings everybody on the same page. Said it before, I think. Yeah. In the future, if you post another game like this, what I want you to do is go in, place your port, and then immediately go for combat. You're very late again, so you will get opened here. Luckily for you, you're in line of sight of the shaman. That stun was actually kind of good because it forces trinket from the rogue. But you should disarm afterwards just to delay damage. Position yourself in a way that you hit both rogue and SP. Your red will find a way to die here in a second.
Infusion down.
Actually, very good stun by your healer. Yeah, nice disarm. That is actually a very good disarm. That needs him to be close cloak it off. And now you should have trinket like walled already because you know he cloaked, so he wants to get damage out. In a second you can sweep. Now you should sweep. Yeah, you're dead. That's just unfortunate. The end here is very much what they should have done multiple times that game. You being not aware yet what you need to do to stop a go means he can always set it up the way he wants to. The game doesn't end because you're dying in the duel right here. Wait. This starts the end of your game because right now he stuns your healer with kidney, and you're not walling right here, but you're also not stopping his damage. Your actual death starts a bit earlier with his cloak because he prepares his damage, but this right here is the gap you need to press wall, and you're not seeing that yet. So what will end up happening is he has no way to heal you anymore. He's not quick enough to give you a sacrifice, so he will cheap shot you into damage. You live if you wall or if you defuse. Both should make you survive. Could also actually port. You missing that kick is also not helpful. Maybe it was actually him. No, it was you. Because if you sweep here, the shaman is the only person on the R. The go is also delayed and you win. And you don't die here. The rogue actually gives you like 4 seconds. If this was like Wes or something, you'd be in a duel for 3 seconds already. Shaman actually covers the red as well. This is very well played. Yeah, in general, this was actually way better than I anticipated it to be from what you told me this morning. Um, there's obviously some bigger mistakes that are easier to fix, but in general, what is very well done and what is already good, your general DPS rotation is very nice. So you're already pumping a lot of damage out. Obviously, you need to start and figure out how you want to play around Shadow Flurry a bit more, like Flurry Strikes in general, and you will need some time to figure out how to play around setups. Um, Subrogue is very special in that regard. It is not very simple or easy to understand how it works, but the way it functions obviously is always the same. CC your healer, make a go, and either the other person he plays with covers you and makes it easier for him to set it up, or you need to respond to that go. Yeah, well, I think that was a lot of information that I put in like a 1 hour video for like a 17-minute game. Um, there's 100% of the time coming up some things that might be unclear. Please let me know. Like I said, I haven't done a review like this. Usually I type it down and point you to certain scenes where I can show you stuff. Um, but right here there is a very good things that you can take away. Um, Wait. For me, the most important part in that last round is this one. Wait. In a moment, he's going to cloak. Um, he has dance running, and he will cloak in just a second because I think he wants to get rid of your disarm. Now, your healer is in CC. He has trinket, but the rogue is preparing to set up a go on your healer. I do not see his DRs, by the way. You might want to grab a weak aura for that as well to see when somebody runs out of DRs. And now when he cloaks, you know he wants to do a go. He wants to get his damage out. Now, now you can already wall and or pot out and be safer. I say that is actually what loses you the round. That you're staying in here while your healer is CC'd and he can't top you. You can recover from that point, but it's what puts you into checkmate. Mainly because to get you back up, the healer has to trinket. That is the big part. That is the trade that you do not want to see. And the fear from the SP seals the deal and stops you from recovering from it. Ah, that is very unfortunate. I'm not sure if you hit the kick. I'm not sure if that actually matters to a certain degree, or if you actually take so much damage right here that you can't recover from it. You should be able to port here and maybe survive a bit longer, but in general, I think you're just dead at this point. I don't really see a big way out except if you pre-wall this go and for you to survive. You also need to angle yourself better towards the rogue. I keep saying it, but it's a very important part. You can cleave and increase your damage by a big margin here. It's also very nice the rogue actually don't leave the gap for you to get out. Unfortunate. Oh well, this video got way longer than I anticipated it to be. I figured I probably talk for around like 30, 40 minutes and be done with it. But we are almost on 70 minutes now and I babbled a lot. Um, yeah, so if this does help you, please let me know. Maybe I can try stuff like this in the future. But obviously, this is a lot of work, so let me know if you prefer the written guides or if you prefer this one. Um, yeah, so everybody who's watching it tonight, enjoy. I hope I was able to put some thought into this, even though the game itself is kind of quick, so it's hard to pinpoint certain moments without stopping the video. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your days, guys, and peace.